All right, so welcome back, everybody. We are about to take another deep dive into, today's topic is UFOs on camera. And we are going to...
Very cool.
We have 10 sightings that we are going to be looking at today.
Excellent.
And hopefully making sense out of this whole thing. But let's start off. This first one is from Tucson, Arizona. It's July 4th, 2016.
Fireworks?
Right.
With
So
the
large
lights.
white orb blinking on and off, and then a second object appears and it's flashing brightly. Now, it was the 4th of July, so, you know, fireworks are the obvious assumption, right?
Of course.
But when you look closer, these objects don't quite move like your typical firework.
That's right. They're not those,
Right.
bursting outward in a
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
a regular pattern.
Okay.
These are moving independently, blinking on and off, and changing direction in ways that fireworks wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some researchers
Hmm.
have suggested that this blinking pattern
Mm-hmm.
resembles what we call a strobe effect,
Mm-hmm.
which is sometimes seen in advanced aircraft lighting systems.
That's a good point. Okay. Our next sighting takes us to St. Louis, Missouri, August 2nd, 2016. We're looking at security camera footage. This is overlooking the Mississippi River and the Gateway Arch, and what we see is this glowing ball
Yeah.
hovering in the sky for a full 5 minutes. It's not just hovering, though. It disappears. It reappears in a different location. The movements are quite erratic.
Okay. Now, this is one where some people have suggested that what we're seeing here is simply car headlights
Oh, really?
reflecting off the river.
Reflecting off the
But
river.
when you consider the physics of light reflection
Right.
and the distance involved, it seems really unlikely. That car headlights would create such a bright and persistent light source high in the sky. Also, the object's erratic movements,
Yeah.
including these sudden disappearances
Yeah.
and reappearances, aren't easily explained by car headlights just traveling along a road.
It does seem a little far-fetched, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
All right. Let's move on to our next sighting. This one takes us to California, November 2015. This is a truly widespread event. People from Reno all the way down to Los Angeles, they reported seeing a strange blue light just blazing across the horizon. The 911 calls flooded in. People were witnessing something very unusual
Right.
and, frankly, a little unnerving.
Yeah, that's scary. The next morning,
Yeah.
the U.S. Navy, they issued a statement
Yeah?
claiming they were conducting a ballistic missile test
Really?
off the coast of California. Now, ballistic missile test, that involves launching a missile
Yeah.
with a very long trajectory, usually for testing purposes. So the question becomes,
Yeah.
would the Navy really conduct such a test without any prior warning, and especially near such a heavily populated coastline?
Yeah.
It's a possibility, but it's also raised some concerns about transparency and potential risks.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely adds another layer to the story. So we have a possible explanation. But the context does raise some eyebrows. Okay, let's shift gears to a sighting that's shrouded in a bit more mystery. We are going to Poland, but the exact date and location are unknown. This footage comes from a commercial airliner, and it shows this massive object just casually drifting past the plane. I mean, this thing is huge.
Wow, yeah, this is one that it's very intriguing because of the perspective.
Right.
Seeing an unidentified object from the window of a commercial airliner
Yeah.
really gives you a sense of scale
Right.
and a sense of reality to the experience, unfortunately. Without more information about the flight path, the date, or the time, it's difficult to investigate this sighting further or to rule out potential explanations, like weather phenomena or other aircraft.
Right. Speaking of large unidentified objects, our next stop takes us to Mexico, January 8th, 2005. And get ready for this one, because this time we have not one, but 40 to 50 glowing orbs dancing across the sky. Now, we've heard it all before, right? Balloons, Chinese lanterns, but take a closer look. These orbs seem to be staring around each other in a way that those explanations just don't fully capture.
That's right. It's interesting because there's an apparent coordination of the objects.
Right.
If it was simply balloons or lanterns, just drifting with the wind, we'd expect to see them moving more randomly. However, these objects seem to be interacting with each other, almost as if they're part of a larger formation.
It's a pretty captivating sight from a sky full of orbs.
We move on to something a little different. This time, it's a single mysterious structure. It was spotted during a flyover. This is over Melbourne, Australia, in July 2016. So imagine you're soaring over the city. You're taking in the sights, and then bam, there it is in the background. a thin, hovering object just hanging out in the skyline, spacecraft, or a glitch in the film.
Right. It's hard to say. I mean, this is a great example of how even seemingly simple footage can generate debate.
Right.
Some might just dismiss it as a flaw in the film.
Or a trick of the light. Others, however, might see it as evidence of something much more extraordinary.
Right.
The shape and stillness of the object certainly raise interesting questions.
It does. It does make you wonder what else might be out there. Okay, let's delve into a sighting that's a little eerie. We're going to the Philippines, 2014. The footage starts with two glowing objects against a dark backdrop. But then things get really interesting. Smaller orb-like objects, they start dropping to the ground. The camera zooms in using night vision, and it's crystal clear. This UFO appears to be raining down these balls of light.
Huh.
Okay.
This sighting really pushes the boundaries of what we might consider conventional explanations, the clarity of the footage, the unusual behavior of the object. It's a compelling case for further investigation. Raises questions about the capabilities of these unidentified objects and the potential phenomena we may still be unaware of.
Right.
Certainly sparks the imagination, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. So, okay, we are going to take a break right now, and we will be right back with more UFO sightings. Okay, so we're back, and we have more UFO sightings to discuss. We do! Our next stop takes us to Hong Kong, October 2014. The BBC was covering the pro-democracy protests. They were capturing the scene live, and right in the middle of the footage, a flying object zips across the screen, pauses momentarily, and then shoots straight up at an incredible speed.
Wow.
Live footage from the BBC. No room for editing tricks there, so that's what makes this sighting so compelling.
It does. I mean, that definitely adds a layer of credibility when it's captured on live television by a reputable news organization like the BBC. It makes it very difficult to dismiss it as a hoax or a simple misidentification, especially given the object's unusual movement.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to a sighting that really stirred up the UFO community. This one's heading to Mexico City, August 6th, 1997. The footage shows a massive object hovering over the city, and it sparked a lot of debate about its authenticity. Some people pointed to potential digital artifacts in the footage as evidence of a hoax.
Right, and that's a valid concern. However, others argued that in 1997, the technology to create such a convincing fake simply didn't exist.
Right.
Additionally, there were multiple eyewitness accounts that corroborated the footage.
So we have a classic UFO conundrum, compelling footage, arguments for and against its authenticity, and the enduring mystery of what really happened that day. All right, our final stop takes us to Mangle, New South Wales, Australia, June 2016. This time we got a whole group of glowing objects putting on a show. Up to 8 of them are cruising across the sky, and then a darker, more solid object appears. And 2 of the glowing objects seem to fly right into it. It's like a UFO meetup. What I find particularly interesting about this sighting is the variety of descriptions. We've seen glowing orbs, structured crafts, darker, more solid objects. It really begs the question, are we dealing with multiple types of phenomena, or are these simply different interpretations of a single unknown phenomena?
That's a great question. Yeah, it makes you wonder if there's a whole spectrum of UFOs out there, each with its own unique characteristics and behaviors.
Right.
Which brings us back to the importance of critical thinking.
Right.
You know, we have to be open to the possibility that we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
That there might be things happening in our world that we simply haven't figured out yet.
Exactly.
You know, we can't just dismiss everything as a hoax or a misidentification without considering all the evidence and exploring different perspectives.
Right.
We have to be willing to challenge our own assumptions and be open to new information, even if it seems strange or unbelievable at first.
Ciao. After diving into these 10 sightings, what stands out to you? Any particular cases that you find especially compelling or puzzling?
Well, for me, I think the sightings with multiple witnesses and those that are captured on, reputable sources, like the BBC News footage, those are particularly intriguing because they add a layer of credibility. That's really hard to ignore.
Yeah, I agree. The Mexico City sighting with the eyewitness accounts and that Hong Kong footage, definitely cases that stick with you. What about the sightings that might have more earthly explanations? Do you think there's still value in examining those?
Well, absolutely. Even the sightings, there might have more conventional explanations, I think, can still teach us something.
Right.
They can help us to refine our critical thinking skills, learn more about the complexities of perception,
Yeah.
and misidentification, and maybe even uncover new insights
Yeah.
about our world
Yeah.
and the technology that exists within it.
That's a great point. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into UFO sightings, what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What do you hope they'll walk away with?
Well, I think the most important thing is to cultivate a sense of curiosity and wonder, coupled with a healthy dose of skepticism. It's about being open to the possibility of the unknown, while also critically evaluating the evidence and considering multiple perspectives.
Well said. We've explored 10 different cases, each with its own set of clues and questions. Now it's your turn to be the investigator.
Right.
What evidence do you find most compelling? What explanations resonate with you? And most importantly, what questions do you have after exploring these sightings?
Right.
We encourage you to keep digging, keep questioning, and keep that sense of wonder alive.
Exactly.
Because after all, the more we learn about what we don't know, the more fascinating our world becomes.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the mystery and the possibility that there's still so much out there waiting to be discovered.
Well said. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us
Yeah.
and for sharing your insights.
That was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and given you some food for thought. Remember, keep looking up, keep questioning, and who knows, maybe you'll have your own UFO sighting to report someday. Until next time, keep exploring. Because after all, the more we learn about what we don't know, the more fascinating our world becomes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's about embracing that mystery and that possibility that there's still so much out there just waiting to be discovered.
Well said. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today and for sharing all your insights.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and given you some food for thought. Remember to keep looking up, keep questioning, and who knows, maybe you'll have your own UFO sighting to report someday. Until next time, keep exploring.